introducing the OK to Wake clock. If you are gearing up for the crib to bed transition, this is going to be one of the first steps that you take. There are several OK to Wake clocks out on the market. We prefer the Hatch clock, but it doesn't matter which one you use, you can follow these steps. If you're interested in knowing a little bit more about the crib to toddler bed transition, check out our Instagram at That Sleep Mama. We're talking about it over there and we made a post just for you. The first part of introducing the OK to Wake clock is just explaining it to your kids, having a conversation with them about what the different lights are going to mean. So to start, the red light is going to mean bed. Red means bed. It looks a little bit pink on the camera here, but it is red. Red is an important color because it is the least disruptive color to melatonin production. So we like to keep things red at night. And you can explain to your child that when the light turns red, it means it's time to get into bed and it's time to stay in bed. If you don't want to use the clock all night, a lot of toddlers, babies don't need a nightlight overnight until they're like 2.5. So you can just have it to turn on at bedtime. The light can turn off when it's time to go to sleep. And then they can know that red means get into bed. And then as long as there's no light on, you have to stay in bed. Typically we use green as the color that means it's okay to get out of bed. So you can set it for a specific time in the morning. When the light turns green, that means it's okay for them to get out of bed. You can either choose to set the rule that it's okay to wake up at green and you will come get them out of bed, or you can let them know that when the light turns green, it's okay for them to get out of bed and they can come and get you. Don't forget that the OK to Wake clock can also be used for nap times. A lot of times when we make the transition from crib to bed, we notice that naps kind of start to trail off if they haven't already, just because it's a little bit harder to fall asleep at naps than it is at bedtime due to lack of melatonin, a little bit daylight, harder to transition into sleeping from being awake and playing. So if you notice that your kid's not napping as great anymore, you can introduce what we call a quiet time. You can set the clock to any color, doesn't matter. Have it set for a duration of time, could be 30 minutes, 45, an hour. It's really up to you. Give your kids some quiet activities to play with, some wooden puzzles. If you have one of those like Yodo or Tony players, could be fun. Anything that's quiet and anything that's safe. They're not going to get in trouble with, they're not going to make a mess with, because they're going to be by themselves, even though you're probably watching them on the monitor. Something quiet that they can do in the room by themselves for that duration of time. If they fall asleep during that time, that's okay. You're just going to adjust your bedtime. But if they don't, that's okay too. They still got a little bit of a break in the day, some rest, some quiet time, and then you did too. One of the most important parts of implementing an OK to Wake clock is consistency, as is with most sleep things. So you want to make sure that you're always responding the same. If they get out of bed before the light turns green, you want to make sure to take them back into their bed, remind them that they have to wait until the light turns green. If you let them out of bed just one time before the light turns green, they're probably never going to forget that, okay? So you might want to make sure that you're consistent, that you remember how to use the clock, that you're going to use it and you're going to implement it appropriately every single time. Now, the nice thing about the Hatch clock is that you can control it from your phone. So if they wake up early and you're thinking to yourself, they're not going back to sleep, I'm having a hard time keeping them in bed, you can go ahead and turn the clock green from your phone, letting them know it's okay to get out of bed, even if it's not the right time. The whole point of these clocks is that kids don't actually know how to tell time, and this is kind of their indicators of when to stay in bed and get out of bed. So we can kind of change it on our own if we need to. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions about implementing the OK to Wake clock, you can put it down below in the comment section. And if you have any ideas or requests for topics that you'd like to see next, you can put it there as well.